The purpose of this video is to introduce you to Nearpod and let you know how to successfully complete a Nearpod assignment. First, you should go to Canvas and locate a Nearpod assignment. They will typically have the word Nearpod in their name. Click on the Nearpod and then click on Load in a new window. It will then redirect you to the Nearpod site and it will autofill your name. Once you click Join Lesson, it will let me know who has joined the lesson and successfully completed it. So here are some basic instructions. If the slide, which may or may not, is narrated, it will have at the bottom a blue circle and an arrow. It will also have the time of that narration. Some slides will be narrated, others will not. I highly recommend, if a slide is narrated, to listen to each individual slide. This will contain important information for lecture and potentially lab. Also, to get successfully participation, meaning to get all of your points, you should complete every single type of activity. There are a variety of activities including matching, videos, quizzes, etc. I will give examples of each of them in this tutorial. When you see the ones that look like boxes, those are going to be matching, and you're going to click on the matching pairs. To move to the next slide, you would click on the blue arrow on the right. That would advance you to the next slide, and you can continue to do that until you get to the end. You can go back by clicking on the blue arrow on the left. You can also, under the notes, add some notes if you would like. And I think the most important feature for you to know that you've actually completed all of the activities is to go to the bottom where it says Open Notes Navigator. If you click on that, it will show you all of the slides and activities within the assignment. So when you get to the end, so we're going to just keep scrolling, you will see a slide that says Tap to Start Over, which we haven't done all of them, so it won't let me, but it would say Tap to Start Over, which means we have done all of the slides. You can also see where you are. So for example, I could tap on this one, and it will be highlighted to say that's the slide that you're on. So once you get to that, basically you're done, then you would know that you've successfully completed and you would get your participation as long as your answers are correct. We're going to go back to the beginning, and you can see highlighted here, we've got our sign in, and then we're on slide number 2, and we're going to move to slide number 3. And again, you can keep that Open Notes Navigator if you would like, or you can collapse it. So here are some tips so that you don't get frustrated with completing these assignments. You may start and stop. In other words, you do not have to do the entire Nearpod in one sitting. However, if you start on your home computer and then try to continue on, let's say, a work computer, it will recognize that you have logged in twice and will make you start over. So I highly recommend that you start on the same computer and you use the same browser each time. That will alleviate frustrations of saying that you have to start over. In order to get all of your points, you must get 100% completion. In order to do that, you would have to get all the way to the end to that last slide. These are manually graded by your instructor. So once you get to the end, if you go to Canvas and go, I can't tell if I did it, I don't know if I did it right, you will know if you did it right if, after your instructor has had time to grade it, you received all of the points. Typically at the beginning of the semester, your instructor would leave notes if you did not successfully complete it, and often some tips on what to do for future assignments. Each time you click on Nearpod, it will show in Canvas as submitted. It should be noted submitted is not the same as completed. Submitted just means you clicked on it, which doesn't mean you actually went through all the slides. Once you get to the end, where again it says Tap to Start Over, or you look on that Open Notes Navigator and you've seen that you've gotten to the end, you will know that you've looked at all of the activities and slides. For the multiple choice questions, you can actually, which again I will show you, move back a little bit if you get it incorrect and then answer it correctly. So there shouldn't be any reason that you shouldn't get 100% correct and completion for the Nearpods. The purpose of these Nearpods for lecture and lab is to give you information that's going to help you for tests and quizzes. So let's get into some specifics. So I'm going to actually skip this slide And you're usually going to see an introductory slide, whether it's this lecture or lab. So we're just going to hit some highlights in this one. So these are all narrated. So you can see the time at the bottom. And we're going to continue on until we get to an activity. Actually, let me go back just a little bit. If you're using this for the lecture portion of the course, you see this highlighted and bolded. That is the part that you're going to use that's going to correspond with the lecture notes. So some courses, I have YouTube videos with PowerPoints, same concept, and other courses I use Nearpod. But basically the highlighted part is what you're going to use to fill in your version of the notes. So you're going to have blanks in yours, and that is what you're going to use to study for tests and quizzes. So following along and listening is basically going to be the same as being in a lecture room. So here we come to a quiz. So it says, what is the smallest unit of measurement? You have some choices. We're going to actually get it correct. So that's a micron. And we click submit in the bottom right corner. And it shows us that we got it correct. Or I'm sorry, incorrect. So we could go back. So we have my answers and it gives you the right answer. So we can go back now. Because the whole point is for you to learn from these Nearpods. Now we're going to, okay, what's nanometer? So I know immediately what the right answer is. And now I'm green. Green means go, yes. And we can move to the next slide. So here we have an open-ended question. So what I'm asking you to do is to basically type in an answer. So these, again, I have to grade manually after everyone has completed this assignment. So we would put in our answer and click submit in the bottom right corner. So here we have one of those that I mentioned with the boxes that students often get stumped, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all these boxes. These are basically automatic flashcards that I've created for you. They are matching. So if you click on the instructions, it says match the microscope part with its function. Click on the boxes. So we'll just do a few. So for example, what is the part of the microscope that's going to magnify? That's going to be the objective lenses. And if they light up green, they are correct. If they light up, let's say red, then they are incorrect. So you can try again. So let's keep going. We'll do one more set. Ocular lenses, we can use those to view our specimen. And we would keep doing those if they're all completed. You have to do all of them to be able to move forward to get completion, and therefore all of your points. There may also be videos embedded within the Nearpod. So you would watch the video, and then every time we see one of these blue circles, that's going to be a question. So we'd hit play at the bottom left. And we're just going to do a tiny bit. So embedded within the video, we have a question, and this one's a multiple choice question. Again, they could be open-ended or they could be multiple choice. So I'm purposely going to guess something incorrect and click submit just to show you what your options are. Now, I want you to guess correctly, but occasionally you're going to get one wrong because that's what happens. We get things wrong. So you can actually take your cursor and move back a little bit. Okay, you can move that back just a little bit. Actually, I have to continue playing.
Toward establishing this
We
new
can go
discipline
back.
had to wait for almost 2 centuries, as it came to bacteria, protozoa, and fungi. Surprisingly, this discovery, now hailed as the birth of microbiology, did not make much of an impact, and the disciples.
And we'll get the question again. So now we know the answer. So go back and re-listen. So the whole point of this is for you to learn the material. Click submit. And now you got a green check mark and we're good to go. So it should be noticed purposely, you cannot just fast forward to the questions and you cannot move to the next slide without answering all the questions and watching the entire video. The videos have been trimmed for the information that we want you to have. So make sure you watch all the videos and answer all the questions to get full credit. So once you have reached the last slide, we're going to advance it again. We just keep moving to the right. So we would answer our quiz question. This is what you see when you hit the end and know that you're done. Tap to start over. You can also see on this Open Notes Navigator, we are at the end. There are no more slides. So that would tell you I have done all the slides, and your instructor is able to grade it and hopefully give you 100% participation and completion.